I will have a webinar. It was a great webinar last week. Thanks for everybody coming in. Also, tonight will be no different. And as much as, it's like-minded people, smart people that want to make more money. They understand that $100,000 or $1,000,000 in the bank isn't enough to retire. And the sooner you realize that, the more serious you'll take building your future. Those of you that are new here, I've been investing for 43 years in real estate. I've made hundreds of deals, which isn't that many, but I've made tens of millions of dollars with those hundreds of deals. I say that's not a lot of deals. It actually is a lot of deals. Whenever I see the fake gurus talk about, I've done 500 deals, they usually don't quantify it with money, and usually there seems to be none, to be quite honest with you. But tonight, Thursday, 7 p.m., urge you to get in there. It's just a few hours away. Skip the bar, go to the webinar is what I tell people. If you would hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But number one, hit that subscribe button. I want to tell you this. I'm going to tell you a story about several students that have made over $100,000, right? And I'll even talk about some of my own too. Oh, what's that say? Virgil wrote, hey, Tom, love the whiskey glass you posted. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a gift. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Maybe I can share that with y'all too. Yeah, thanks, Virgil. Thanks for that. Actually, Virgil's also in the class too, by the way. So look, let's get started, and I'm going to talk about some real money being made. I'll talk about many of my own deals, but the most important ones are the student deals, because you are potentially going to be a student. And let me tell you the key to the success for everybody in the class. I make them aware of the most important things they need to know about, right? Number one, the most quickest, fastest way to find a deal. Then after that, and then it just builds and gets better, and it gets a little bit more complex. But the reason it's not always so simple to put everything in a book for somebody to figure it out, because there are 1,000 different nuances to real estate deals and negotiations and different things that come up. And that's why it's so important to have a mentor that you can, not a figurehead, not a goofball guru that puts you on the phone with mom and, house moms and nothing against house moms, but people that are not. Listen, if you know how to make money in real estate, you're not going to work for a fake guru. You know what I mean? You're just not going to do that. But anyways, I'll be right back, and we're going to get it going. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face-to-face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years. All right, we're back. Hey, by the way, listen, live call-in. Anybody want to call, ask your toughest questions. If you have a question, just anything you don't know or you want an answer to, something that you would expect somebody with 40 years experience to know, call in. And I'll give it my best shot to answer. Like I say, if you see this list over my shoulder, off this shoulder, I should say, these are all properties that I have personally purchased, and this isn't even all of them, right? But these are houses, this is land, these are industrial buildings, commercial buildings, office buildings, beach property, golf course properties. There's so many opportunities, and people don't realize that everything is right in front of you. It doesn't always come available. It's not always perfect. But the thing is, if you know what to do, guess what? You will beat everybody in your area out of getting those deals. You know what I mean? You'll be the first one there. And if you're not the first one there, you'll be the second one there, and you'll still probably prevail. And now I want to just show you just some of the stuff you'll see. If you like land, here's $100,000 profit right here just on a piece of land. And I've got others that made several hundred thousand, millions on single piece of land. Take it. And a lot of people wonder, well, how much money does it take? Well, the more money you have, the more options you have. Okay, I really, really fell in love with creative financing early on for the very reason that I was 19 years old, and it was with creative financing. And, and creative financing usually means owner financing, but not exclusively. I've done some pretty complex creative finance deals, by the way. In fact, I had one just recently where within the deal, the seller was to provide we escrowed, basically, we agreed to escrow $200,000 after I bought the property, but that money would come back to me to pay for a chiller. Basically, it's a huge air conditioner, the size of like a big truck or van that sits on the roof of a very large building. But those are some of the things that you would, that's just another example. Now, some of the most common questions I get from people are, how long does it take to make money, right? And how much money does it take? Let me see if I got this down. Yeah, I'll put this up here. Well, the fact is, to make money in real estate, you can make money. You can make money with nothing, okay? When I say nothing, it can be like a few $100s to put down, a deposit. And I'll give you a perfect example. And anybody got any questions, please just call or just put it in there. How long does it take? People ask that too. There's some variables that are hard to be specific on, but I can talk about some real success stories. Like, all these are lots, right? And let me just tell you, for every blue dot you see here, it represents a lot, right? But it represents 5 lots, because I bought like 60, 70 lots in here. But to start with, I bought 20 lots by myself. And then after that, I was kind of out of money. I was a little thin. And then I had a partner. A partner wanted to go in with me on because he saw the money I was making. And so he started funding the purchases that I was making. And so I bought like another 40 lots with a partner. Now, the downside was I had to split the money with him. The upside was I got to split the money with them, okay, but without having to use my own money. So that's always something that's out there and is available to you. So that kind of covers land and buildings. I mean, how many people here feel good about their savings? Do you feel like you got enough put away? I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable if I had. Well, I'm in a different world altogether, but even if I just wanted to leave a regular life, it takes millions of dollars. It really does. It takes millions of dollars. Or if you have maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in assets that have a really good high return, that could also take care of you. Put your kids through school, put you through, your retirement. The main thing is, I've got one of my students became a full-time investor with only about $560,000. Sean wrote, and Sean, feel free to call in. Sean wrote, does buying creative real estate, work better in hot markets or in cold markets, or it doesn't matter? Sean, let me just rephrase that a little bit for you. Creative real estate, and you'll understand this very quickly when you get in my class. The beauty of real estate is, there are no rules. You can make the rules. I mean, when it comes to negotiations and financing, creative financing, there's no end to the rules. In fact, there's some very interesting things that I only teach the class. I won't even share here because it's too valuable, but that relate to creative organization that can serve you extremely well. But let's just talk about some of the basics. Sean, it's never bad if somebody will carry a note, right? This is owner financing, or and I've been on both sides of that, right? So you have somebody. I'll give you an example. It's the end of the year. I have a property that I want to sell. You want to buy it. You need to close it, but I don't want the money till after the 1st. So I may arrange to have this thing closed in January, and or maybe you can't, you have to buy it this year, but you can't come up with all the closing funds till the following month, but you have to close it in this year for financial purposes. So we go ahead and make a deal that, okay, we'll close it with $1,000 down or $5,000 down, and the balance will be paid in 30 days. And so we close the deal. I've got it off my books because I want it off my books. You got it, you got for $5,000, you know that you're going to come up with the difference, and you'll pay it off for $1,000, whatever the deposit is. You'll pay it off in 30 days. Well, that 30 days could be 30 years. It could be 20 years. And I bought many properties that were owner financed. In fact, this is why I like to talk about the students, by the way. Eric right here, you see in this one here. Eric, he did something I've never done, okay? And I'll just show you a little.
Undeniable that you've obtained the knowledge that I needed. So
this is a young man that has made about $2 million, probably a little bit more. But on a trailer park, he made about $800,000 on, okay? And on 34 acres, he made about as much, or maybe even a little bit.
You get information overload.
Okay? Now, how quickly did he do it?
Have you at this pivotal point in
really,
my journey,
the day he bought them is really the day he made his money, and that's what I teach everybody. That's the day you buy is the day you make your money. And so he'd gotten 34 acres worth about $1 million. And he got it. He did something I've never done. He actually got it zero down, right? Everybody can do zero down, and he got it with 0% interest. So on his first month payment, creative financing, right? See, this is the creative financing. You can agree to zero interest if you want, right? You can agree to nothing down if you want, and so that opens up the doors. And similar for him, for me. The first deal I made, and he's 30-something. I was 19, and the people never even saw me face to face. They financed the building with $10,000 down, and they gave me 6 months to come up with the $10,000. So we got a deal, and then we agreed to a 30-day escrow. I'm sorry, a 180-day escrow period. So for 180 days. I had access to the building. I moved into the building, which means I no longer had to pay rent at the previous place that I was at, and that 6 months allowed me to save the $10,000 deposit. So really, they funded and financed the entire thing because it was the fact that I got to stay in the place for 6 months rent-free, plus I rented out part of the building to somebody else, and that got, that's one of the most beautiful examples of creative finance, and I can tell you right there. 19, bought a building, had $500 out of my pocket for the deposit, got to take over, stay in it for 6 months, saved about $15,000 in rent by not having to pay rent, which gave me the $10,000 for the deposit. That's a good example of creative real estate. So when you're saying, does it work better in hot or cold markets, it's not about that it works better one way or the other. It's just the fact that it's an option. When it's an option, you want to take it. Now, granted, if somebody said, Tom, I'll finance the whole deal, and just see, I want you to see this too, because this is important. It's coming apart. This book you see here, which is about 30 plus years old, this booklet just came apart on me. This is the first $1 million I made between 1981 and in 1990. The last deal I sold, I made $350,000. The last deal that I made in that book, and I closed it in. I bought it in November of '89, and I sold it and made $350,000 in the beginning of December 1990. So, any questions? Does that kind of answer your question, Sean? Is there anything else? But like I say, the what you can sometimes find, just so you know, is when you have a motivated seller, and times are tough, and I consider these to be times getting tough and getting tougher right now, by the way, where it opens up the possibilities for somebody to maybe own or carry that maybe otherwise wouldn't have wanted to do that. Other opportunities are like when interest rates are very low. Sometimes it's like, it's all over the place. Let's say an owner is willing to carry, you don't have credit, and you got to pay him 6% interest. But if you had good credit, you could borrow it from the bank and only pay 4% interest, right? So that's when you got to go, well, if you have the option. If you have bad credit or you're young, the option's easy. You take the only one that works, 6%. But if you're established and you have great credit, you can go, you know what, I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just pay you cash for it. Or you can just say, take the deal and then just pay them off early. You know, sometimes people want to finance. Some people don't want to be paid off. They want to get, and there's advantages to that, because let's just say you're buying a property from somebody and they're making $100,000 on it, whatever they're making on it. They bought it a long time ago. Well, now they can kind of take the gains over a period of time rather than pay capital gains all at once. They can take it over a period of time as they receive the gains, and that's what they can do by carrying a note and accepting it that way. So, apartment buildings, right? Who in your fantasies out there watching, what do you dream about? Do you dream about doing a house hack, a duplex hack, live in one side, rent out the other? You know, rent out the rooms. A lot of people get excited about Airbnbs. I do not. In fact, most of my students, I just tell them, you don't need to do it. Like the sub-2 crap, I don't like any of the sub-2 crap. And believe me, I've done some sub-2. But my point is, it's something that rarely works, and it's usually comes from desperation. In this case, what I see mostly is the sub-2 desperation is people that have zero to no equity in their property, and then they, for lack of a better term, because it really isn't sale, they'll deed the property over to somebody that also doesn't have any money. And so you've got somebody that's overloaded with debt and no equity, and handing it to somebody that has no wherewithal to really pay for the thing. And then as soon as you have a problem, as soon as somebody takes over another person's property, and there's a tenant involved, you're counting on that rent coming in, and maybe you're making $500 a month. Air conditioner goes out. Well, air conditioner's about $12,000 now. So all of a sudden, this great deal that you just walked in, took over for free, and you got this super hack you're making $500 a month on, and now all of a sudden, you know what? If you don't fix this $12,000 air conditioner or replace it, you're not going to have any money coming in, because the tenant has to be comfortable. Those are some of the nightmares of sub-2s that nobody brings up. And I'll never do that. I never do that to anybody. I make sure everybody's completely aware of whatever the risks and the rewards are. And there's huge rewards. Listen, there's absolutely monstrous rewards in real estate. And I know my students have made them, and I've made them. But let's talk about some other ones. Recent success stories, by the way. Shane, who I just interviewed again. Where is Shane? Yeah, right here. This is
all the fundamentals, the techniques that you've taught me in the mentorship, and just tried to apply them to, my situation, everyday life.
So let me explain. He was just explaining how he made his I think he made $220,000 at this point. Yeah, see, up at the top here, you can't see it. $200K profit. And by the way, if you just got here, webinar tonight, don't miss it. Please don't miss it. Just go to the links below. Fill out the little tiny webinar form at FlipAnythingUSA, and then you can immediately get a link to get into it tonight, which is only going to be in about 2 or 3 hours. But let me just show you some other. So, I mean, if you want, the thing, a lot of time, people that first get in, they're worried about, they want to see, they're thinking smaller than they need to. And trust me, many of you are thinking way too small, way too small. And I mean, but that's okay. Everybody's got to start somewhere. But you can make, look at, a perfect example was who I showed you earlier when I was showing you, Eric. When I showed you earlier, Eric, I got so many students, I got students same names too. Eric made $1 million, zero money out of pocket, zero down. How can you beat that? Make $1 million, make $1 million on a piece of property, and that was Eric.
share this video with you. I just want to thank you for your help. And last week I closed this deal, a huge deal that I had been working on, and it was great to be able to reach out to you. Your mentorship has been great, man. Having the calculators in there, the members forum, access to you by phone when for critical support.
So, anyways, this is right after he made $800,000. Okay, and he also just bought another property that he'll make more than $800,000 on, zero down, and zero interest. So anybody here, no money, you could take over. You could do that deal. The only thing you'd have to deal with is $1,000 a month payment. But if you sell it right away, that shouldn't be too bad. Dimitri Van Camp, thanks, buddy, for writing, and also consider calling in, please. You guys see the call-in number at the top, and don't forget tonight. And Dimitri, I hope you get in tonight, buddy. I have $110K coming in next month. Nice. From a probate deal, which I am double closing as a flip without doing any work. Just saying, $100K is not that much, like one decent deal. Yeah, and see, that's wonderful that, well, for Dimitri, look, for you to say that that's not much, I get it. It's not enough to retire on, but if you can do that 2 or 3 times a year, or 10 times a year or more, it could be, that stuff adds up. And I don't even want to diminish $100,000. $100,000. Anybody here that's working that has a decent job, making an extra $100,000 a year is not peanuts. I mean, I made $2.5 million on a probate deal, like you're talking about. But sometimes I'm afraid to talk about the big numbers that I have made, because I don't want people to think that it's so astronomically big, right? But I want to talk about real deals. I see. Yeah, no, I understand, Dimitri. Like you said, Dimitri's words, not saying it in a douchey way, just saying people can do it. You're right. Listen, it's not bragging if you're using it as an example of what you've done and what you can do, right? In other words, presumably we're in an atmosphere with people that are interested in getting knowledge and learning how to make money. I remember this, and I have some great role models. They didn't teach me about real estate, but they were good businessmen, and I wanted what they wanted. I wanted what they had. They had money. They had buildings, and they were living the life. And I remember one of those guys that I talked to, and he liked me. He liked me because I asked questions. I was young. He died young. It's hard to believe. He died when he was 60 years old. This guy is someone who's older than me that I looked up to. I was probably 20. He was 40. And 20 years later, he's 60. He's dead now. And he just built a $5 million beach home in Seal Beach, California. And you know what I mean? But when he told me back when I was in my 20s, like 20, I was telling him, look, I'm making these deals. I was already making deals on land. And he was the first assignment I did, or what you guys like to call wholesale deals. He was the first person to give me $20,000 and this is back in 1984. He gave me $20,000 to walk away so he could buy this building by himself. But he was telling me, he said, yeah, Tom, he goes, when I closed Ashland Construction was he built steel buildings, right? Steel buildings, like we all see everywhere. He said, when I closed that business, he said, I had over $1 million in the operating account. So he wasn't bragging. He was just telling me, when I closed that business, I had over $1 million cash. And believe me, $1 million cash back in 1983 or 84 was like having, $3 million. It was a lot of money. And so you should really appreciate people when they will honestly and share with you and quantify and demonstrate, because that's what you want. Otherwise, you don't know. It could be bullshit, right? But he was a great guy, and man, sorely missed by many, many people. He hired a lot of contractors. He was a contractor himself, and I can tell you when he died, there was I missed his funeral. I didn't hear about it till he was already dead and gone. But a buddy of mine was there, and he said, Tom, he goes, you've never seen so many men sobbing in your life. 300 men at a funeral crying. It was something. He moved a lot of people. He helped a lot of people. He actually gave me my first place to rent for my cabinet shop when I started a cabinet shop. Yeah, that's right, Dimitri. It's like $3 or $4 million today. What he showed me. But again, I tell people this all the time is that when you're actually doing a deal and buying and reselling something, having the deals that are under 100,000 are going to be the highest profitability pro rata, right? Meaning I've taken 10 grand and made 50. I've taken 10 grand and made 20, 30, 40. In other words, it's the easiest thing to double, triple, or quadruple when you're doing deals under 100,000. When you start to get over that, it's still possible. Don't get me wrong, it's still possible. But, when you get to that point where you can buy something for 200 and make $200,000, that's a great, you got 200 grand, throw it out there, bring it back, and now it's 400. This is what I teach my students to do, is to keep their standards high for profitability, for making money. And it's just super important. If you don't do that, guess what? You're going to succeed at making not very much. And that's the problem. Gotcha. I'm sorry, checking messages too. Anyways. But so look, come on, 15 people here. Come up with a question. Is everybody at work right now? I have some people that actually we're going to call that are kind of stuck, taking care of a sick wife. Sorry, I hope she feels better soon. Rich is a fan. By the way, Rich, I asked Rich to call in because it's such a beautiful example a beautiful example. Everybody in the class that's made money is great, but Rich is, listen, you can, and I'm not diminishing anything Rich has done, but sometimes there is a bit of luck. When I say luck, it's never luck. It's not like a coin toss, but sometimes the timing is beautiful. And Rich flipped 3 properties, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, if you want to in here, but Rich made about 100. Actually, I didn't even have to. Let's just listen to Rich in his own words. Okay, so we're gonna go to Rich here and say, I'm glad you asked that, Derek. I think it's Derek, right? Derek or Deke, I can barely read it. He said, where do you get your motivated seller leads? Well, guess what? Not from some AI bullshit ad that you see. That is a bunch of worthless shit. I'm just telling you right now. Do you know, because I own a lot of property, my phone is constantly lit up with what sounds like little girls and little boys, teenagers. Wait, your property at 11229. You know what I mean? In other words, they're selling the same leads to everyone. Okay, everyone. And so everyone is calling on the same leads. You're going to learn that is bullshit. Don't even worry about it. The leads you'll learn about, I'll teach you that. That's what you're paying for in the class, is learning how to find deals, the real deals, and learning how to take them away from other people sometime. Sometimes somebody gets ahead of you. Sometimes somebody's got an advantage. How to push number one out of the way so you can take it. But so it's not, you know what I mean? When you say, where do you get motivated seller leads? It's not that simple. It's not that simple. It's just not a simple question to answer. And there's a lot of stuff in there that I will definitely share with you that is not on YouTube, but is definitely inside my program. And the only way I can produce that to you is you understand that's the value. What you're asking is a very valid question, but it's not something I give away for free. And it's not a one sentence deal either, by the way. But okay, actually, Rich, by the way, who's somebody who's made about $2 million in the class since he got in. But I like the way he put it. He put it here. He just wrote preparation, having the cash available, knowledge, Tom's mentorship equals luck. Thanks. I appreciate that, Rich. So, Rich is among quite a few people I have that are between really 28 and 40, 50, whatever, that have just been sensational. But Rich is especially kind of got I really enjoy Rich's company. He's a smart guy too, by the way, and I only let smart people in the class, by the way, just so you know. But it's because everybody that comes in the class should be if I get some doofus that just doesn't have any common sense, and I can already tell, yeah, forget it, you're an airhead. I politely discourage him from coming into the class because I'm not going to let him in the class. Is what's going to happen. But when I got somebody bright, and that's what Rich was, I talked to him. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's going place. And guess what? And let me just show you. Okay, let's just do this in Rich's own words. And by the way, Rich, congratulations. He's a recent father. I have 4 kids, and they're all adults now. Uh-oh, why isn't this coming on? Rich here had picked up a couple of properties, made like 100 or so on the first one, about 150 on the second one, and then damn near 800,000 on the third one, correct?
Yeah.
His income from what was his part-time side hustle, if you want to call it that, now exceeds or matches his full-time income. So that's Rich. It's the best thing I ever did! Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. So, I just want you to see, this is a young guy. This is only a couple of years ago, and he's made some deals since then. In fact, and as far as mentoring goes, and as far as being accessible, I had a call with him today. Actually called me last night, kind of late. Said, hey, got something I hadn't run into before. I said, let's talk about it. And I told him what I thought he should do. That's the key to success. If you guys remember, there's some shows where they have a lifeline where you can either get a hint or you can actually call somebody and they can tell you that's it. I'm kind of everybody's lifeline and that's what you need, because if you don't have the right answer and you can't act quickly, okay, you have to be able to move quickly. And that means you might call me and you're going, hey, I'm about to sign. I'm not sure I should sign this or not. Or is there anything I should add? I'm going to tell you what you should do or what I think you should do, what I would do. And that's what's so important, and that's what's so pivotal and key to success, is being able to call somebody that you trust, that is knowledgeable, so you know what you have to do in that instant. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And it's, like I say, I think my average student's made $60,000 now. That doesn't mean every student made 60 grand, but the average, if I averaged it, they've made about $60,000 a piece. It's super impressive, and you should come take a look at it. But back to what Rich said: preparation, having the cash available, knowledge. And then, like he said, my mentorship, right? And I totally agree with him. The cash is helpful, but you don't always have to have the cash. Believe me, I won't even let you in the class if you don't have some savings. If you don't have savings after you pay for the class, forget it. I'm not going to let you in. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. That's ever called or watched me for any amount of time. But I want to just show you, because I really love Rich's story. So Rich, I'm not going to show you land. Forget about land. I'm not forget about it, but I'm not going to worry about showing his pictures of his land. But Rich flipped 3 pieces of land. First one he made 100, roughly over 100. Second one about 250. Third one a little over $800,000. And he rolled those gains into the purchase of the kind of 2 properties that total. He bought this beautiful strip center. I think it's about 5,000 square foot. You can see there's like a 5-story 2.3 million, right?
Yeah.
Behind him. 2.3 million. And he's got this beautiful. This is 2 buildings. It looks like one. This is 2 7,500 square foot industrial buildings, okay? So think about that. He gets in class, and in 2 years, I think it's 2 years or 18 months, one or the other, and in 2 years, he's made over $1 million cash, realized cash. He's been able to defer those gains, meaning not pay taxes on it yet, defer those gains into the purchase of assets, brick and mortar assets that pay him rent for the rest of his life as long as he wants to own them. So he bought that first building you saw just right here. He actually bought another little house besides, a little commercial property besides that one. He got this beautiful industrial buildings. That's 2 7,500 square foot buildings. He's got 10 grand a month coming in. One of the nice things is I've got a new, and then he had one more. Where's that other one? I thought there was another one. But, oh yeah. See, look at the
Performance of.
Oh, that's actually one of mine. But yeah, I actually, actually Rich came out and I gave him a tour. I ran him around, showed him, a few 100,000 square feet of properties that I own. But what I want to show you is, That's
He just
inside
closed
one of
on
his warehouses.
just a couple weeks ago.
There's two
So
of
he's
them.
already got his
Beautiful
foot in the
properties.
door in that. It's just so fantastic.
And what I want to show you is, because these are his words, and I just
You-
play it because I think it's important.
It's like a say.
So listen to this little clip right here, because this is a lot of it. Yes, he 1031'd him, Dimitri. Absolutely. We do a lot of 1031s in the class.
Able to reach Tom, so being able to reach out to Tom when you're in a crunch is very vital. I ran into that on on the warehouse that I bought. I was running into an issue where there was an environmental study, and I was kind of freaking out about it because the bank was not going to want to do the deal because if it didn't pass the phase 1 inspection, they weren't.
So what you saw just now was you saw all the text that had transpired between us on all the different various deals that he's done, and continues. This is like three years now, or something like that, and you know, he's multimillionaire now from real estate, from the deals that he's made. Just the deals that he's made while he's been in the class have made that kind of money. So yeah, Dimitri, yes, he did do 1031 exchanges. Most people also don't want to work hard enough. Well, people that aren't willing to work will never get in my class. Deke wrote, I usually get them from the government, like evictions, probate, tax delinquencies, arrests. Yeah, list pendants. How do you get them from a list pendants? You're filing a list pendants? Is that what you're telling? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's just keep rolling. Anyways, so any other questions? Can somebody call in? Would somebody there's the number, 424-866-7929. And I'm actually going to go have a glass of wine with a buddy of mine, and then I'll be coming back to do the webinar. So I'll come back here and go live again, maybe around 6:30, 6 or 6:30. But listen, I never like to ask anybody to do anything like I'm pleading, because I'm not going to do it. But what I would tell you is I am telling you, if you aren't happy with where you're at financially, if you understand that you need to make more, okay, and especially if you're like a self-employed person, if you have $50, $100, couple hundred, $1 million, whatever, if you have over $50,000, I really like everybody to have at least 50. But if you have, make some exceptions. And it's not because I don't want your 50. I'm not Chris Crone asking you to cash in your 401k to invest in a house with me. That ain't me. I'm not Grant Cardone saying, hey, how much you got? Let's get you in a fund. I don't believe in any of that bullshit. You want to hold the reins yourself. You want to be the man that runs it. And so, anyways, go to the link below, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Let me just show you real quick. Make this real simple. So just take a look right here. I'm not even going to worry about taking any calls tonight. Too much time spent. Right here. Just go right here to webinar, right? See that at the top of the screen? Right up. Click on that right there. A no fake guru zone, right? You are entering a no fake guru zone. I've been investing for 43 years. I'll show you student success, my personal success, like you've never seen before. And that's just God's honest statement. And you will be very pleased. And look how big of a form, right? Your name, your email, and your phone number and your age, right? Name, phone number, email, and age. That's all I need. Hit that little submit button, and you will get a link sent to you so that you can join the Zoom tonight, okay? And, so I'm just telling you, people pass on things. I don't know how many opportunities you go back and look at, but I can tell you that the students that get in my class, they realize very quickly several things. The opportunities they missed. They start to think, oh, shoot, I missed some opportunities. They realize they missed them because they didn't know they were under their nose at the time. In the class, they realized what they missed. That's why, preparation, as Russ stated, super important. You got to be prepared. What's that mean? You got to know what the hell you're doing. It's simple. You got to have a knowledge base. Okay. The next thing is people, besides realizing the opportunities missed, they realize the mistake that they made. They realize they shouldn't have bought what they bought. A lot of people, they buy a piece of property, then they go, now I'm going to learn about real estate. After they buy a piece of property, first thing they learn is they paid too much for what they bought. And so, and that's okay. I help people. Sometimes I have people that have pretty decent sized portfolios, and what they want to do is they want to move that portfolio, those properties. They want to change the asset, right? Instead of having 15 houses or 5 houses and all these front and backyards to take care of, and 20 toilets and whatever, thousands of feet of carpeting. They think, I'd like to get into a commercial asset, an industrial building, 1 bathroom, nothing but concrete floors, no upkeep, nothing for you to do, just collect rent. The guy that moves in, he knows what he's doing. He just has to get in there and build stuff and make, whatever kind of factory he is, retail center, they're going to doll it up. They're going to spend all the money on the inside. You don't have to pay for anything. They're going to doll it up on the inside, and they're going to rent that thing. We deliver just a simple, clean, white box, 4 painted walls, and front door, walk in, and now they can make their masterpiece, whether it's a tile guy, putting in a showroom, or a cabinet company making a showroom, or, it just never ends. And that's the other thing. You'd be so surprised. I've got, I don't know how many hundreds of tenants I've had over the years, but, I've had nuclear physicists and doctors, and, I got, even today, I got nuclear physics. I got people shooting Botox at beauty clinics that I own. I've got people, tattoo artists. I've got massage parlors. I've got, liquor stores, bars, restaurants. These are wonderful assets, and they serve the community, and they ain't going anywhere. And you can get a piece of that action, but you gotta take a step forward and to make it happen. You got to take a step forward, and that would be get in the webinar tonight. See ya. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face to face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.